Across the endless, icy plains of Antarctica, the wind howled a lonely song. Snowflakes spun like silver dust under the pale moon, blanketing a world of white. Deep within this frozen kingdom lived a young penguin named Pico. He was the smallest in his colony, but his dreams were the biggest of all. While the other penguins spent their days sliding on the ice or diving for plumpfish, Pico's gaze was always fixed on the distant frozen ridge, a shimmering wall of mountains that no penguin had ever dared to cross. His best friend, a playful seal named Nuna, often teased him about it. "You think you'll find treasure over there, little penguin?" she'd ask, nudging him with her nose. Pico would just shake his head. "Not treasure," answers. "I hear things sometimes," whispers in the wind. Nuna would roll her eyes. Whispers. The only thing whispering out there is the storm, but Pico wasn't imagining it. Every night, faint voices seemed to call his name from beyond the ridge. They were soft, like a half-remembered lullaby. Then, one night, the sky erupted. Lightning flashed, and the snow swirled in a frenzy. As Pico watched, a strange blue light pulsed in the distance. It was deep and rhythmic, like a giant heart beating beneath the ice. In that moment, his curiosity finally became stronger than his fear. He had to follow it. He had to know. The next morning, long before the sun touched the ice, the colony was still asleep. Pico quietly packed a small fish for the journey and a special shell charm his mother had given him for luck. As he waddled away from the familiar comfort of his home, a familiar shape slid up behind him. It was Nuna. "You're not leaving without me," she declared. Pico tried to argue. "It's dangerous, Nuna," she just grinned. "So is boredom," and with that, they were off, a brave little penguin and a loyal seal, sliding across the vast expanse of ice toward the great unknown. Their journey took them past towering frozen cliffs that looked like sleeping giants and the ancient bones of creatures long lost, trapped forever in the clear ice. They discovered glowing caves where light danced through walls of crystal, painting rainbows on the snow. On the third day, their path was blocked by an enormous, gentle walrus named Toru. He had a kind face and eyes as old as the ice itself. "The blue light you seek," he rumbled, his voice deep and slow, "it belongs to the frozen heart. It is the very power that keeps this land alive." But it was lost long ago, when greed filled the hearts of the animals. Pico's courage seemed to impress the wise old walrus. "If your heart is pure," Toru said, nodding slowly, "the ice itself will guide you." With that blessing, Pico and Nuna continued their journey, their resolve stronger than ever. After many more days of travel, they entered a vast valley unlike anything they had ever seen. It was surrounded by towering ice pillars that seemed to hum with a soft, ancient energy. Nuna shivered, pressing closer to Pico. "The wind, it's talking," and it was. Faint voices filled the air, whispers of old penguins, seals, and whales that had vanished from the world long ago. Pico suddenly understood. These were the echoes of the ancestors, their stories and spirits trapped within the ice. At the very center of the valley stood a massive glacier door, its surface carved with glowing blue runes. As Pico reached out and touched it, the ice flared to life. Visions flooded his mind, the creation of the frozen heart, the rise of the great icy kingdoms, and then a shadowy serpent, whose darkness shattered the peace and stole the light. Nuna gasped beside him. "That must be the one who stole the heart." Pico's eyes hardened with determination. "Then we'll find him and we'll bring it back." As he spoke these words, the great door began to grind open, revealing a spiral tunnel that glowed with an inviting, mysterious blue light. Inside the tunnel, the air was heavy and silent. The floor glittered as if paved with frozen stars. Pico and Nuna walked carefully through corridors that seemed to shift and twist around them, as if the labyrinth itself were alive. Suddenly, the path ahead split into 3 identical tunnels. A soft voice echoed from the walls, seeming to come from everywhere at once. "Choose with your heart, not your eyes." Pico closed his eyes, shutting out the confusing sight. He focused on his senses, listening. From the first tunnel, he felt a strange, inviting warmth. From the second, a cold wave of fear. But from the third, he felt only a profound, calm silence. Trusting his instinct, he chose the silent path. It led them to a huge underground cavern. In the center was a lake, glowing with an otherworldly light from beneath its surface. And there, floating in the middle, was a shard of brilliant, glowing ice, the frozen heart. But it was dim, its light flickering weakly, its surface marred by deep cracks. Before Pyko could even move toward it, the ground began to rumble violently. Out of the shadows emerged a gigantic serpent made of ice and smoke. Its eyes burned with a cold fire. This was Nagar, the spirit of the storm. So, the serpent hissed, its voice like cracking ice, the tiny penguin seeks power. Just like all the fools before him, Pyko stood his ground, his small voice surprisingly firm. I don't seek power. I seek balance. Nagar let out a scornful laugh. Balance is an illusion. Cold rules all. With a roar, lightning exploded from the serpent, and the entire cave shook. A chaotic battle began. Nuno bravely dodged falling icicles, trying to clear a path for Pyko. Nagar's massive tail smashed against the ground, sending waves of freezing water crashing through the cavern. Just when all seemed lost, a mighty roar echoed from the entrance. Tur the walrus, who had followed them in secret, charged into the fight. Leave the boy alone, serpent, he bellowed. Together, the three friends fought with all their might, but the serpent's power was immense. In the swirling chaos, Pyko saw his reflection in a shard of ice. He looked small, scared, but his eyes were filled with a fiery determination. He remembered his mother's words from long ago, the smallest flame can melt the largest shadow. With a sudden burst of speed, he slid across the icy floor. He leaped into the air and pressed his small flippers against the cracked surface of the frozen heart. Please, he whispered, pouring all his hope into the words, help me protect them. At his touch, the crystal began to glow slowly at first, then brighter, and brighter, until it was blinding. A wave of pure, white light burst from Pyko's body. It washed over the cavern, freezing the great serpent mid-roar, and casing it in pure, solid ice. The storm stopped. The rumbling ceased. The air grew perfectly still. When the light finally faded, Pyko lay on the ground, weak but smiling. The frozen heart now pulsed with a strong, steady, brilliant light, its cracks healed. The land around them was already beginning to change. The great glacier door reopened on its own. As they emerged, the Valley of Echoes sang to them no longer with whispers of fear, but with joyful songs of peace. Yuna gently carried Pyko all the way home. When they arrived, the entire colony gathered in awe. The ice felt warmer, the sea was calmer, and the sky was filled with shimmering colors they had never seen before. The oldest penguin in the colony stepped forward. The heart has awakened again, he said, his voice filled with reverence. The balance is restored. Yuna looked down at her small friend with pride. Because of one small penguin who listened to the wind, from that day on, Pyko was known as the guardian of the frozen light. But he never let the fame change him. He still climbed his favorite hill every night to watch the stars and listen. And sometimes, when the aurora danced across the sky, he thought he could hear a new voice in the wind, one that was no longer angry, but peaceful. Balance, little one, you were right. Thanks for watching our story today. If you enjoyed Pyko's adventure, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing tales. See you next time.